I know. Are we ready?
Hey, you guys are watching Screenplay, totally organized and ready to go. Today we are joined by Mr. Brandon Farmahini on the farthest. We got Blaine Gibson right here in the middle, and then we got Chris Demarais next to me, and then we got Mr. Gus in the video store.
Did you just get our names mixed up? Intentionally?
That was the weirdest cut to of Gus just disapproving principal.
Gus, earlier today, I texted Barbara and I was like, hey, I don't know how we should approach this, but Gus has some leaked nudes on the internet. And she's like, wait, what? What are you talking about? And then I sent her a picture of Bob's Burgers.
I love you all. You're my family, but you're terrible at what you do.
Good old Bob. And Chris, as always,
I'm a candle maker.
you're a candle maker today. Now, what goes into that exactly? Like, do you breed the bees when you get the wax?
Well, I get what I mostly do is take other candles that are already done. Like when when the wick burns out, I just melt the other waxes together, put them in a jar, and then put a thing of string in it.
Well, let me ask you, when you go ahead and you design a candle, do you keep in mind that you're just trying to cancel out the smell of poop? Like, that's all, because that's mostly what candles are used for, right?
No, you're wrong.
Candles.
Blaine, so Star Wars. No,
if you want to.
Well, I don't think any of us actually have seen The Raid.
I've seen The Raid.
You've seen The Raid?
Yeah.
So, what's funny is I've seen less of the movie. I want to. And I have The Raid 2 on Blu-ray. It's at my house. I've not watched it yet. But I have seen all the GIFs and all the scenes, like, on Reddit. And all the, like, there's that one GIF that was on Reddit for a while. It was the guy dressed up, like, as a car seat. Did you see that? It was the one shot where there's like a camera goes through the car for this fight sequence, and there was this guy, and he's dressed like a car seat, and as soon as the camera goes by him, he like
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so
awesome.
they could film it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, cast like an extra becomes a crew.
The guy was the car seat, and as soon as the camera passes him by, he grabs it, and the hand. So it's like 3 or 4 people handing off the camera.
Oh, so you didn't think there was a guy there who was just like camouflaged?
Yeah, so that he could grab the camera.
He was like a camera guy. That was crazy.
I know. I thought it was like you were saying he's an actor, and then he transitioned. I was like, oh my god, can you imagine the union issues?
He's a prop and a cameraman.
Damn Teamsters up our ass. So no, but there's been some information. 3 of the guys, and their names fail me. I don't have them written on my cool little tablet. But they are 3 guys from The Raid, and they're going to be in Star Wars. They're the newest cast members to be. I don't know how big their parts are going to be. It's all hearsay.
I'm not sure.
They're still casting people for the movie.
Well,
done shooting.
Oh, weird. Well, yeah. When did?
I'm sure it's just an announcement. So
Yeah. That is weird. Some people have been saying online that maybe they're just doing like fight choreography. Maybe they're just helping out on that aspect. But
we were talking about this earlier. I think it's important that we know that because that shows that Abrams is going to go with, even though he's kind of using the old trilogies. What are you doing?
Nothing.
He's using the old trilogies like as his Bible. Like he's using that and continuing that storyline. He's using the physicality and the fights and the choreography from the new trilogy, which is like a lot more like ninja and moving around and going fast instead of like the old lightsabers where they're like.
Well, I think Lucas's rationale was the lightsaber battles were Vader and Luke. Luke, who just was learning how to use a lightsaber, and Vader, who was all machine. So I think in his mind, that's why the lightsaber fights from the old trilogy were not that impressive.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, I think you have to hand it to Lucas. That backwards logic, like the thing he probably came up with after he did the first trilogy, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
When you have 25 years to develop an excuse, you tend to develop a good excuse.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not give him any credit here.
Yeah. Before we jump into too much of Star Wars talk, I wanted to keep it pretty sparse because we don't really have too many details. But I do also want to say that we have our movie quote of the week, which we've yet to. Gus, do you have it?
I sure do.
May the force be with you. That's
the movie quote of the week
and
is
also with you.
The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool.
The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool. That's I mean, these are weird quotes. These are the kind of quotes that you hear people say at the grocery store when they're like.
Sounds like a. Oh, this isn't really a guess, but it definitely sounds like a high fidelity, like Matthew.
They're very obscure.
Yeah.
Like, what's weird was when we were watching The Wolf of Wall Street, there was the Kyle Chandler scene where he says, "Hey, Jordan, shut the fuck up," or like, "Here's some advice, shut the fuck up." And that was a quote that Patrick, our director, picked on a previous show. And when I was watching, I was like, "That is not exactly a quote that you'd be at like with your friends and be like, 'Hey, Jordan, shut the fuck up,' you know what I mean?" It's like it's hard to pick out.
Yeah.
Or at the quote along at the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah. And then and also I realized I came out here and I was like, okay, I got my tablet, I've got everything, we're good to go. And then I realized right now as I'm sitting here, I've yet to pick a movie to watch for the movie of the week next week. This week we're watching The Interview. We all watched it last week, and we're gonna talk about it today. But if you're watching right now and there's a movie that's streaming or easy to find on the net, tweet at us. #RT Screenplay. Let us know. There's a whole forum on roosterteeth.com/screenplay where all the users are coming up with ideas every week, letting us know what they want us to watch.
What about The Net?
The Net with Sandra Bullock?
Yeah.
Well, Gus already went off on a tirade on that on a previous podcast, and me and him talked about that. That movie, I just love how, like, I remember watching that movie in the 90s, and Sandra Bullock orders a pizza on the internet, and I was like, no fucking way.
That would never happen.
But yeah, that movie's...
Didn't she have, like,
Okay.
internet connection everywhere?
I don't know.
Was that her special power?
Gus is the expert on the net. Gus,
I think the last time we talked about it, I had just watched it like the day before, so I remembered a lot more. I've drank a lot since then, so I've forgotten a bit about it. But I think, there was a lot of internet. I don't think she had it everywhere she went, but it was following her everywhere, it
That's
seemed like.
bullshit.
Is like her special power? Is that?
No, it's just not. She's not a fucking superhero.
her superhero. That'd be the worst superhero
No,
power.
that's actually
A
be pretty
hotspot.
convenient,
That'd be your comic
Fuck
super.
you, I would take that.
Yeah,
hotspot.
like
Yeah, until you get the bill from AT&T.
You were roaming? That's dorky, cellular humor. But okay, so wait, why were we talking about the net? Oh,
I don't know.
Brandon thought we should watch it. But okay, so biggest box office bombs of 2014. So 2015, we're in it now. 14 just ended. What were the movies? Before we go to the actual list, what movies would you consider a bomb when you think of box office bombs last year? You go, oh, that definitely.
I think Edge of Tomorrow is the thing that stands out the most.
It's on
Because
the
I mean,
list.
it's all the thing that I heard everybody talking about. But I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure it didn't do well at the box office, or at least by blockbuster standards.
Yeah,
God, it's so good, though.
it is a really good movie.
It was like, I walked away from that in Days of Future Past, and I could not decide which one I liked more. And Days of Future Past was like, it did phenomenally in the box office.
But like, why did the marketing fail? Like, why did people not want to see it?
I think a lot of it had to do with Tom Cruise and where he is now in public perception. Is, he's kind of a turnoff. The same way, like, if I'm not saying that Tom Cruise and Bill Cosby are in the same boat, but I'm saying that, like, it got to a point, especially with Scientology and just him being a weird guy, and also the fact that it seemed like we just had a Tom Cruise science fiction movie with Oblivion that had come out.
I think that's close because to me those movies kind of just blur together.
They blur together.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then too close and too similar.
Well,
Oh,
Oblivion
man.
came out right around the time that After Earth came out, and after a while, you're just like, this is all the same thing.
Well, Mission Impossible 3, I think, did pretty well.
5
and
did
that was
Ghost Protocol.
That
Oh,
was
Ghost Protocol
after-
did well, yeah.
That was after his whole thing. The thing that really didn't interest me when I saw it is because I didn't really see the sci-fi component. I know it's in the trailer, but I walked away from that, or at least looking back on it now, being like, oh yeah, it's just like an action war future movie. And I think it's become more successful. We talked about it before. They changed the name to Live, Die, Repeat, which is a title that focuses on what's uniquely about the movie, which is much more sci-fi and less just that's much sound effect of me shooting people. So I think that, I don't know, I think the marketing aspect of that.
That was the worst pew 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 noise. I just imagine you as a kid running around going.
Poor Brandon is horribly sick. Get him to the
Something's
hospital.
the matter with Brandon. Live, Die, Repeat had a lot of issues, and it's sad because it was one of those movies the internet was like, why is no one watching this movie? And it's a bummer because it was mech done right, and I think Matt. Our own CEO Matt and then Wired said the same thing, where it was like, this is the best video game movie that's not based on a video game.
Yeah.
Because it gave you that whole idea of like, you get killed, you come back, you do it
You
again.
related to it so much. It was really strange. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about a lot about Live, Die, Repeat over the course of this podcast whenever they kept changing their name and trying to repackage it. So that was the movie that Brandon thinks when he thinks of a bomber of 2014. Chris, Blaine, what do you guys have?
Oh, what was that one that they were marketing it as if it was like another Inception? It had Johnny Depp in it.
Transcendence. That's
Transcendence,
it's also on the list.
Yeah, I remember. Like, I feel like they kept on trying to lead people to believe that it was a Nolan film, but I think it was the DP.
It kind of was.
Inception.
It was Wally Feister.
Was the trailer just boom?
Pretty much. The trailer did look a lot like Inception, and it kind of had that kind of feel to it. And it was Wally Pfister. It's Christopher Nolan's like go-to director of photography. It's just his first foray in directing. Had a lot of people in it. Had Johnny Depp. Had Paul Bettany. Had who else? It had Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman was in it. Yeah.
There's a lot of people in this movie, and it just didn't.
That
do
really,
well.
really pretty lady from The Town, I think.
Yeah, that's right. And it's funny because on the list, it's just like you see the picture because it's a movie that didn't do well, and now it just looks silly. It's like shaved head Johnny Depp with a bunch of USB cables like glued to the top of his head. Like now that it bombed, you're like, this just looks dumb.
Like shit. Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I don't know. To me, no particular movie stands out as like this was the huge bomb of the year. Like like John Carter of Mars.
years,
like that was like a huge movie.
Because that lost a lot of money.
They put so much marketing and they really promoted it, and it just completely flopped. It didn't seem like there's anything quite like that this year. But I don't know.
Yeah, Gus.
Could you look up? I think I had seen a story that movie theater sales were just down this year.
Let me take a look at that. I'll let you know.
If
I remember seeing it.
if that's just in my head or not. And
No.
I don't know if that's necessarily a thing where people aren't going to the movies. It might be, but I don't think it was a very big year for blockbusters.
I read that. I know what article you're talking about because they were talking about how the numbers were down and the theaters and media in general are freaking out because the new generations are so used to just watching stuff at the house.
Video
So
on demand.
I'm looking at the yearly numbers here, and according to Box Office Mojo, the box office for 2014 grossed about $10.3 billion, which was 5.2% down from 2013 at $10.9
Is the economy
billion.
doing well this year? Or
Have
what?
we-
but what's
No,
weird is
no,
movies
it's-
do
yeah.
better.
Yeah, it has.
Movies
That's-
usually do
that's
better
true.
when we're in.
Have we
recession.
seen a downward trend within the past 5 years, or just fluctuations?
It seems mainly like fluctuation. 10 and 11 were both slightly down, then 12 and 13 were up, and now 14 is down.
So obviously everyone should buy gold because it feels like we're
Gold.
on a financial show.
Like what was Guardians was the May release.
That was-
right. What
yeah.
what were the May blockbusters versus the summer, like the July 4th blockbusters? Those are usually what?
I mean, I read an article in the summer that was like before Guardians came out, where they're like, this is going to be like the worst summer for blockbusters
Yeah.
ever,
And
unless Guardians does really well.
Yeah.
And they,
It's
obviously
blew-
did really well, so that kind of like helped bolster the numbers.
Yeah.
But next year you have Star Wars, you have Avengers 2.
Yeah, next year's going to be.
I'm sure.
Or this year.
Oh,
this
yeah,
year.
This
next
year's
year.
gonna be the shit.
Next year's a
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, we are in 2015.
This year's gonna.
Oh, God.
Are you more excited about Avengers or
be
Star Wars?
29.
I know you.
You're not
I know,
asking me that, are you?
I know Star Wars.
Avengers,
I know I'm
obviously. No.
Obviously, I want to see Star Wars more. You want to see Star Wars more? Blaine?
Oh, Star Wars easily. Are you crazy?
Okay.
To speak to your
probably
point
Star Wars.
about summer blockbusters in 2014, of the top 10 grossing movies in 2014, only 3 of them had summer release dates.
That's
Oh,
so
yeah.
strange.
Guess
What
what-
was the July 4th release?
Transformers,
May-
Transformers
computer?
Age of Extinction came out June 27th. Then after that, Planet of the Apes, July 11th.
Planet of the Apes wasn't bad, but yeah, I don't think that.
Memorial
Neither
Day
of
and
those,
July
I think, were
4th are
like-
like the two big
just did average, I think.
weekends.
Yeah. All right. So, Gus, well, let me ask you: when you think of the bombs from this year, like, what's the one that comes to your head?
I mean, definitely, you nailed it. I mean, Transcendence and Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow really stood out because it looks like such a big budget movie, and it's so good. I don't understand why that movie didn't make a ton of
Yeah,
money.
it's kind of a bummer. Other notables on that list of bombs for this past year were Winter's Tale, that movie with I think it was Russell Crowe, Colin Farrell, I think, and Will Smith played the devil in it.
Is that the sequel to Winter's Bone?
No, I don't think so. So that movie, no one saw it. Legend of Hercules, the not the rock version, which was also didn't do too well, but the Kellen Lutz one, the guy from Twilight, did a Hercules movie and it
Oh,
bombed.
yeah.
I didn't want to see the first one because I was like, well, there's another Hercules
Yeah.
movie. And then the second one came back, and I was
There
like,
you go.
yeah.
There's a list. Then we got Pompeii with Kit Harington from Game of Thrones, Jack Ryan, the Chris Pine version, the Sabotage movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, the CGI movie that just completely bombed. I think that's the most of it. Oh, and The Legend of Oz, the animated
I saw
sequel to Dorothy.
Jack Ryan was not. Yeah,
Well, even Chris Pine came out and said like we screwed it up.
it was a bummer too because like pretty much all of the Tom Clancy movies up to this point have been really good. Even I think Some of All Fears with Affleck was really fucking good.
Well, Kevin
This was a bummer.
Costner, it's weird because he had this kind of resurgence after Superman because he had small part in
Yeah.
Superman, and then this year he was in Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. He was in a bunch of kind of direct-to-DVD things.
The
and then
Draft.
He was in the Draft. The Draft was also another big failure this year. So Kevin Costner had this
Oh
kind of
yeah.
weird.
He's in this like Disney movie that's probably going to do well. It's about like a cross country team.
What's up,
or
Gus?
I
something.
wanted to point out a couple other bombs that weren't on that list for some reason. Also, that came out this year was Expendables 3.
Oh, yeah,
and
that's right.
A Million Days to Die in the West.
Oh, that movie's so
Wow.
bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it, and I the best review I read about it was someone saying like Seth MacFarlane casted all these talented people. Like I think I already said this. Like Sarah Silverman Gibson and Giovanni Ribisi, but he gave himself all the lines. Like I would have loved to see that script because it's just like him just talking the entire time. And I like Seth MacFarlane, but after that movie, you kind of don't. You're kind of just like, I've had enough.
It's a little too self-serve. So I mean, he does most of the voices in Family Guy too. I mean,
does,
he's
like,
Peter,
he does.
He's Peter, Brian, and Stewie.
So you think
after
Ted,
main
he got,
characters.
Well, he's doing Ted. The reason he got to do Ways to Die in the West is because Ted 1 did so well. And they're already working on Ted 2, and they've been showing some photos have been released on the internet and stuff. But yeah, that movie was... and it's weird because it takes place in old-time Western days, but he has this like new age mentality where he's like, whoa, what about disease? And what about blah, 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 blah? And you're like, this doesn't really mesh well. It's a weird movie. I don't know. If you liked it, let me know. It has funny moments. There's a funny Django cameo.
It's no Wild Wild West.
No, it's
is
no.
what we're trying to say.
Because that movie was so... Yeah, when was the last time a Western movie did well, actually?
Oh, God. There was like... Was
310 to Yuma, I was about to say.
Yeah, 310 to Yuma did
That was one of
okay.
the best
But
Westerns.
that was a few years back. Let's see, like Lone Ranger bombed.
Yeah.
the
Tarantino.
the Coen brothers made one with
Jeff
Jeff
Bridges.
Bridges.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
True
right,
Grit.
True Grit.
True
the
Grit was
John
fucking
Wayne
great.
remake. That movie is awesome, actually.
I don't
Okay.
think that did very well. I doubt it.
Okay, so moving on, things that came out today. We're actually going to be on top of the game for once in a while. So Ant-Man released a poster today. It was super clever. And people are on Twitter are pissed off about it. They think it's stupid. That's the Entertainment Weekly cover. But the poster, it's literally just a big white poster that says Ant-Man has this little dot in the middle. And everyone's like, that's so stupid. That's retarded.
No, it's funny.
It's genius because if you're, let's say you're an older like gentleman or you're someone's mom and you're at a movie theater and then you just see this poster and you're like, they forgot to put something on the poster.
Yeah,
It's
it
just a
definitely
white
stands
poster.
out.
Well, I think it's preempting the comments about Ant-Man making fun of it, where it's like, what, a guy who goes little? That sounds stupid. And they're like, yeah, it is kind of
Yeah,
stupid.
they're embracing
Look at the
it.
poster.
Did you
They
see-
kind of take the power away from
Yeah.
you for being able to make fun of it.
They released 2 teaser trailers for the upcoming teaser trailer that's coming tonight behind.
Which
I'm
is
so
kinda-
over teaser trailers.
Well,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
funny.
so they have it was what, like 5 seconds of Ant-Man?
they should release teaser
It
gifs
didn't even
and then a
have them in the
trailer.
gift. Oh, there's the original. That's pretty great.
I love that poster.
Okay, but they released one originally, and I don't know if they got a lot of lashback from it, but it was like, okay, so like here's the screen, and the actual like screen was like, it was still 16:9, but it was like 100th of the size. So you could see that there was like movement going on,
Oh, we couldn't see it.
but
So
you
they're
couldn't
kind of
see
just
it,
overusing that joke.
basically.
funny. Yeah.
But they did it like visually.
Well, I'm curious to see it. There's a lot of stuff people talking about it. It's got Evangeline Lilly. I think Michael Douglas plays the original Ant-Man in this one, so we're looking forward to see that. Even though Edgar Wright is no longer with
Yeah,
us.
I kind of want to see Paul Rudd as a superhero, just because
Yeah.
he's
'Cause he's-
funny.
you know what-
like he
He's super funny.
yeah, if he doesn't take it too seriously, then I think it could be a good movie.
Did they freeze Paul Rudd in between Clueless and
Because he looks
Anchorman?
exactly alike.
Yeah.
No, what was he up to? Like, was he in anything?
This is 40.
Oh, he
No,
was
that
around.
was way-
He was
this is 40
around.
was a few years
Dude, he
ago.
was like a big actor on
Guess-
Friends for like many seasons.
Oh,
Oh,
he
with
was
Friends?
in Friends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talking
he
about the
was
past.
Phoebe, the guy who Phoebe ended up with.
He was
Spoiler.
like the addition. He was like an official friend, but not official.
You're like the Friends guy, you know?
No, I'm not.
Everybody's the Friends guy. Everybody watch Friends.
I only watched the first few seasons.
Well, I'm excited that Paul Rudd is getting to lead this movie because I feel like the same way it's going to do well for like Robert Downey Jr. like at a resurgence. I feel like Paul Rudd does a lot of collaborations with people I love, like the guys that do The State, who's the guy that David Wayne who did
Yeah,
Wanderlust
David Wayne's
and
really
Wet Hot
funny.
American Summer. And so I think they just did that movie. They Get Together, the Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd. It's like kind of making fun of romantic comedies. And it was a bunch of my friends' like best movie of the year list. Like a lot of people love that movie. But since Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd aren't Robert Downey Jr., that movie got released on VOD. It didn't get a big wide release. So I'd like to think that in the future, more weird Paul Rudd comedies will get bigger releases because
What about-
Ant-Man.
what about that video of him dancing on the computer? That's pretty good. That should get a wide release.
Which one?
I don't. What show was that from?
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
You've never seen the video of Paul Rudd dancing on the computer where he has a program?
No.
All right, never mind.
I hate to be.
I
What
think,
is it?
It's Tim and Eric.
Oh,
Tim and Eric.
okay.
Nice.
I think one thing Marvel's noticing is comedic actors are doing really well in those roles. I mean, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy with
Oh, there's the video. There's the fucking video.
Eric is awesome.
Oh, he's awesome.
it was Guardians of the Galaxy, also Iron Man, and the guy who plays the flaming torch, the human torch.
Chris Evans is not a
The
comedian.
Human Torch / Captain America.
Flaming
He's known
Torch.
for like he had a couple comedic stuff. So I think that adaptation,
Patrick
as opposed to like the big action guy, is what's really gonna
Well,
sell.
we're jumping off your Guardians thing really quickly. So Guardians was a completely reset on approaching superhero movies. It was fun. It felt like, a ragtag group of people. I love Guardians. Everyone loves Guardians of the Galaxy. So Matthew Vaughn, who directed Kick-Ass and just recently directed Service, or was it The Kingsman, the Secret Service movie?
Yeah.
I think it's got a release in UK. Should be coming here to the States pretty soon. I also found out he's married to Claudia Schiffer. I didn't know that. Matthew Vaughn, the director.
Score.
Yeah, pretty awesome. But he came out and said that people are over the dark, gritty superhero Chris Nolan movies. They said they're over it, And so, and he said, case in point, look at Guardians. Like, they want to have fun.
People want to have fun in the theaters. I think it's just got to be good, man.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like if it's a good superhero movie that's dark and gritty, then it doesn't matter.
I think it depends on the IP. Like, it works perfectly for Batman. It didn't work so much for Superman.
I just don't think it was done that well with Superman. Like it just.
But it was so much more darker,
But it was trying too hard to be dark.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like dark.
So we'll see what Snyder does with this next one.
I think as long as they break like the typical like what they've been doing in the past, and then they just add like a genre spin on the superhero movie, then I think that's when it's enjoyable. So like that Daredevil, that work that one perspective director did.
Joe Carnahan, yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a dark, gritty like 70s.
Look like the
crime.
Warriors.
Yeah, and I was like, that looks fucking amazing. I would have watched that. So I don't know if it's. I don't know. I
think it
depends.
I think it depends on the IP. Like, I mean, my whole thing.
Execution
I'll
as
say
well.
this. I'll say this about Matthew Vaughn's statement. I agree to an extent. Some movies I want to see really gritty, and some I'd like to see having a fun time.
Yeah.
Well, I do think there's a difference between a comic book movie and a superhero movie. Like, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't a superhero movie. It was just a action adventure space film.
Yeah.
It was based on
agree
a
with
comic. That's where it came from. But I think those things are, I think, going to do good independent of
Yeah.
whether they're light or dark. I think superhero movies are really a genre in itself. And I'm aware superhero movies are also comic movies, but there's a difference. The fact that you introduce characters with superpowers,
Yeah.
it's just, it has a different feel and a different scope in people's minds versus Guardians, which is it's just a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
It's really what it is.
Well, to add on to that, superhero movies, all these ones that were coming out to looking forward to, let's take a step back and look at a movie that we kind of already know. X-Men Days of Futures Past is getting a re-release. I don't think in theaters. I think mostly in Blu-ray and like digital download. But it's X-Men Days of Future Past, the Rogue edition or the Rogue cut.
Does she have her goddamn powers?
I think so. Yeah.
Every fucking movie, you're like, when is she gonna find Miss Marvel?
Oh,
when
and
is
kill
she gonna
her.
take the
Or no, she
goddamn
doesn't-
powers
and start flying
Yeah,
around.
When is she gonna fly around and start destroying shit? Because every one of those movies, just like Rogue being like,
It's true.
I'm touching Blaine.
He's absorbing my strength.
She's so obnoxious in those movies. All those movies, she's so obnoxious.
I felt so bad for Anna Paquin. It's
I
like,
swear,
hey,
I am gonna burst the blood vessel if she doesn't have her goddamn powers in this movie.
I don't think she is, Brandon. I'm
Oh
sorry.
my God.
Just not to.
I will rip this
Well,
table.
So it's a 10-minute sequence, I think, that got cut out of the movie, and then I think there's a few little parts earlier where she's kind of incorporated into earlier scenes. Because in Days of Futures Past, Rogue just has pretty much a cameo at the end when she walks out with Iceman.
Yeah.
And it's just that. But she's Anna Paquin. She's a big name. I think she had like top billing, like one of the like under Hugh Jackman, because
Wow.
she's up there because
And
of
then
True
she just
Blood and
got
stuff.
cut?
And then she was just completely fucking cut out of the movie. So I'm interested in seeing this. It kind of sucks. I was really hoping that it'd be just an addition on the Blu-ray. But their whole thing is they're going to release a whole nother version of the movie that has that scene intact.
Dicks.
And then their Blu-ray editions on that DVD are going to be completely different than the one they just released.
They're
So it's
cashing in.
totally a cash grab, and it kind of sucks. But I don't know.
Glad I waited.
Yeah, I guess they did wait a good while, but
So
that's happening.
Going back to Ant-Man real
Go
quick. I hate to be doom and gloom. I feel like that's going to be the first Marvel failure since like
Everybody's been saying that. People said that about Thor.
I feel like Thor would have
Guardian.
been the
well,
big failure.
but Marvel hasn't really been backing it as much. Like during their big press conference when they're announcing like all this stuff, they completely overshadowed.
Well, it still has time,
Ant-Man.
right? When does it come out?
It's coming out this year sometime. Isn't it?
I didn't hear what movie did he say?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Oh, Ant-Man's this year, July.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So it's got
I don't think it has the same hype train that like Captain America and all
You
the
just
Avengers
wait
movies
until
has.
April. Just
I want it to
wait
do
until
good.
April
I
when they
don't-
start like the machine and it's just down your throat and there's exclusives and clips and you're just like, I get it, fucking Ant-Man, I fucking get it.
Guardians didn't have that much.
It's true, Guardians
until
didn't.
like the month before. That's when you saw all the trailers.
Yeah.
But like that was the movie that nobody talked about for the longest time.
I
Like,
thought, yeah,
they had
I
a panel
remember
at
hearing about
Comic-Con.
Guardians,
People were
and I was
like,
like, that
oh,
might
that's
just
kinda cool.
So
bomb.
to put it in perspective, in the Guardians' perspective, we're getting the first Ant-Man teaser tonight, supposedly, for a movie that comes out in July. The first Guardians teaser came out in February 2014. So, if you're going for that summer release, it's kind of a long. We're on track for
Yeah.
when they're going to really start promoting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like they didn't hype it up too much at that big press conference when that would have been their opportunity because they talked about like Avengers a lot.
Yeah, but when's Avengers come out?
like what?
Comes out in-
2016.
No, it comes out in
Oh,
May.
you talk Age of Ultron.
So I mean, doesn't it make sense that they would promote the movie that's coming out in 3 months as opposed to the movie that's coming out in 6?
Yeah, okay, that's true.
all right, so we're spending a lot of time on superhero stuff, so I just want to kind of scan over this. This is more anime and a little bit of superhero stuff. There's not really much to say about it. I feel like we've talked a lot about Gambit in the past and what we like and don't like about it, but it's official, I think, that Channing Tatum is going to be playing Gambit at some point in the future for Marvel. Or actually, I think it's Fox and the X-Men franchises. And also, Scarlett Johansson has been cast in the Ghost in the Shell movie. I've seen Ghost in the Shell. It's been years. But let us know what you feel about that on Twitter or
Boo!
yeah, boo. Why boo for you, Gus?
I don't buy Scarlett Johansson as Motoko Kusanagi. It does not fucking make sense at all. They just put her on there to sell tickets.
Yeah.
It's a big name.
It's true. And then also they've been talking about doing this Akira live action for years. I think Leonardo DiCaprio's production company owns the rights to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think at one point they were even looking at Keanu Reeves and different people. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think a lot of people got pissed off on the internet because it was gonna look like it was gonna be mostly like a Western Caucasian cast. And Gus, let me ask what you think about that.
I think it's bullshit. I mean, it's the same deal with Scarlett Johansson playing this character. I think in my head, when I think about the Kusanagi character, I think about the woman from Pacific Rim.
Oh, she's great.
That could have been ideal casting.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
really
she's great.
really
She's
good.
in Babel. Yeah, she's a great
She's also
chick.
in Kumiko.
Oh yeah, and she's in Brothers Bloom where she plays Boom Boom. She's like
Her name
the,
starts with an R, Riki.
yeah, she's
Rinko
great.
Kikuchi.
Well, I think
Damn,
it
Gus.
kind
I
of goes
was like
back
a
to
minute
what
away from guessing
Ridley
that.
Scott got.
Up in info bombs.
I have a laptop.
Well, Ridley Scott got in trouble. I don't know if we talked about it a little bit. Like they were asking him why he casted all these American actors to play Egyptians, and I don't know, just like different kind of Egyptian characters. And he said because if I put Christian Bale in a movie, people will fund it. No one's gonna fund a movie if I cast Mohammed whatever so never. He's like
Yeah.
he's,
White people like white people. I mean,
It's something that's been happening forever, but
Yeah.
I think it's just now being criticized more.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's true.
the movie Bringing Down the House. It was I think based on.
Are you talking about this Tommy Lee Jones Cedric the Entertainer movie?
Wait, with the UT
No.
cheerleaders?
No.
It's Man of the House.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was like, why are we talking about this movie?
It might have been called. The movie might have been called 21, but it was I think based on a book called Bringing Down the House about these kids who went to Vegas to like count cards.
Oh, you're talking about 21, yeah.
Yeah, so it's based on this thing called Bringing Down the House. All the characters, like all the real people, they were all Asian. But in the movie, they changed them all to white. And one of the reasons why, in the book, they explain it is like Vegas would be much more suspicious of, 21, 22-year-old like white kids or white guys coming in and playing blackjack versus
Tourists.
even if it's Asian Americans, people they just might assume are actually from Asia who are coming in and spending a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
So there was a reason why it worked within the actual real world,
Yeah.
but they changed it in the movie.
That's such a bummer when you do post research on a movie you really enjoyed and find all the
I didn't
things.
say I enjoyed it.
Well, but it's
Don't
like
put words in my mouth.
It's like
it was no Ant-Man.
Well, it's like Catch Me If You Can. Like that was a cool movie.
Yeah.
And then when I did the research and found out that Tom Hanks's character was pretty much just based on multiple different characters and they made him one character, it was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer.
The Jurassic
well,
Park.
but I see why they did that. For
Yeah,
a story
I mean, no, it
perspective.
makes sense for story perspective.
Yeah.
But it's always, a little bit. There's always a little bit to the illusion.
The Jurassic Park book had a rocket launcher, and Muldoon lived. And I was like, after I read that, I was like, this is way better than the movie.
Wait, Muldoon, the raptor guy?
Yeah.
No way!
Clever girl. He lives, yeah.
With a rocket launcher.
With a fucking rocket.
Yeah.
He shot a T-Rex with this, rocket
In the
needle.
face.
It was great.
Yeah.
All right, and just something I want to skim by. Neil Blomkamp apparently was working for Spec. I don't know if he was working with the studio,
man.
but it just came out.
What a
He just
tease.
released it, I think, on Instagram. But concept art for an Alien movie he was working on, and so we're looking at some of it right now. Gus, you big Alien fan?
Love Alien, love Blomkamp. What it seems like it would have been a great mix, and this concept art looks incredible.
He's had his hands on so many cool opportunities, be it Halo and Alien, and he's done such a good job with the pre-production, and then it all just goes to shit.
Look at Michael Biehn. Oh, man.
Yeah, so you see Ripley, you see Michael Bihn's character. So what I've heard from a lot of people is that when people talk about redoing another Alien movie or adding to the franchise, it seems like James Cameron, Ridley Scott, everyone, even Blomkamp, they want to start after 3. Or no, to start before 3?
After 2. 3
After
is
2.
a piece of shit.
Everyone,
Yeah. 3
everyone
was
wants to
pretty
pretend that
garbage.
3 and 4 were a fever dream during hyperspace. They kind of want X-Men
I'll
Days
buy
of
it.
Future Past it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
no,
do
I'll
that.
buy- I'll buy
I'd
that.
buy it, yeah.
If you get to bring back the characters that you love, and then I don't care how many movies you wipe out,
What was the name of the android they killed between movies?
Bishop, the guy that
Bishop.
was,
He was the android from the Aliens.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they killed off all the characters from
That,
Aliens.
three gets a lot
Well,
of
no,
shit,
there was
right?
the android and I think the little girl that both
Nope.
died
Yeah,
in between
yeah.
the movies.
It's like, oh yeah, the whole movie
And
that
Michael
he
Bihn's
spent
character.
saving this girl. Oops.
Well, Bishop wasn't actually dead in 3. He was destroyed.
Oh yeah,
and
they
then
brought
she
him
found
back his brain or
And he's
something
like,
like that.
It was funny
Yeah.
because we were having this we were having this conversation with Dana Fabella, who's
What
one
was
of our
he like?
editors here.
He's coughing up the milk, which was actually real milk, and it was souring on set, and they got the guy sick that was coughing up an alien.
Well, we were talking about movies that either jump the shark or nuke the fridge, or they totally just ruin their franchise. And everyone gives Alien 3 shit for being the movie that ruined it, and directed by David Fincher, by the way.
Terrible.
But the thing is, it also has the shot where Ridley's next to the xenomorph, and she opens the mouth, and the other alien comes out. That's such an epic, overly parodied shot. Everyone knows that shot. It's classic.
Here, we'll reenact it, Brandon. You're Ridley. No, you're Ripley. You look that way, and I'm like... That's what it looks like.
Yeah, but it's funny though because it seriously is such an iconic shot, but it's from the movie that everybody hates.
How's my breath smell?
It's just an image.
I was
You
looking
know,
at
it's
that one.
like
Oh, okay.
that's
Yeah.
a cool image, but doesn't make it a cool.
Doesn't make it a good
Yeah.
movie. Okay, and then in the trailers, we got 2 trailers that came out this week that we all gave a look at. It was Big Game, which is an interesting movie with Samuel Jackson playing the U.S. president. We're looking at the trailer right now,
Interesting,
and
yeah.
he ends up in some sort of, I guess, nature outdoorsy. Jim Broadbent's also in it.
Supposed to be
Look,
filming...
from what I can tell, it's like he's on Air Force One, and then terrorists shoot his plane down.
Yeah.
and then he's stuck on this island by himself, where he's being hunted
Yeah,
by
most dangerous game.
terrorists.
The
Yeah, but then this little kid, who's 13-year-old and has a bow and arrow, saves the president.
yeah.
That refrigerator thing, or whatever the hell that is in almost every other shot.
So this movie has no U.S. distribution set up for it just yet. I think it's getting a lot of European. And the cool thing about it, or the reason it is what it is it's done by, the whole movie was made by a Swedish, or no, is it Finnish? Finland?
I think it was might have finished.
By a Finnish post-production company. So these guys, all they do is special effects for movies. So they made their own movie. They got Sam Jackson in it, who someone said, I read this thing on the internet where he's like, Samuel Jackson doesn't pick up the phone by saying hello. He says, I'll do it. But also, he's one of the top earners every fucking year. I mean, last year he was in RoboCop. He was in everything, dude. He was in Kingsman.
He just does everything.
He does
It's like, oh, I've made
everything.
a lot of money.
Yeah. So Big Game looks interesting. It's taken a lot of ideas and movie plots we've seen before and kind of meshing them together.
Apparently, a lot of people are tearing that thing to shreds, though.
Oh, as far as
It
that,
was
have
supposed to
seen it?
take place in Finland or something, but apparently geographically, there's not mountains
in Finland.
or it doesn't look like that or anything.
Well, either way, I when I heard about it, I thought it was gonna be pretty silly. When I saw
Gus,
the-
are there mountains in Finland?
I'm verifying the shooting locations right now. Give me just a moment.
Nice.
well,
a
it's
robot.
it actually looks a lot more crisp and it looks really nice, from the trailer. It looks
Yeah,
really
it looks
well.
very
filmed.
pretty.
They filmed in Germany.
Germany.
Oh.
There you go.
Wherever they filmed it looked beautiful.
Schnish. All right, so let's see. And what else? Oh, yeah, the other trailer we're talking about this week is David Cross. You might know as Tobias Bluth. I know him from Mr. Show. He was also the guy in the wheelchair from the Scary Movie 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I can do it myself. Which, if you have Comedy Central, it's on there like every fucking day.
yeah.
He was in the Chipmunk movie.
He's been in so many.
He was
He was-
also in Chipmunk 2 Shipwrecked.
He was
even
also
admitted,
in-
he was like, yeah, I just did that for money.
Yeah.
He was also in Toy Soldiers with the voice of Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh, and for anybody big Halo fans out there, he was one of the Marines in Halo 2.
No shit.
Like when
Yeah,
you're
Halo
running
2, yeah.
around, he always chimed in like with some sarcastic, funny comment.
He was in the
That's funny.
city.
So random.
Yeah.
I
And
love,
when you give him the
I
gun.
love David Cross. I love his stand-up. He's real smart. He's out there. He's a cool guy.
Not a good director.
I don't know. I've not seen it. You don't think so?
Nah, it didn't look that good to me.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
I got kind of like I got this weird kind of Bobcat Goldthwait kind of vibe from it, from like his like God Bless America and whatever movies. It's a big farce, but he's got a lot of talent in this movie. He's got, from looking at IMDb alone, first of all, I give him a lot of credit because he's a director. He's not a director. He's a stand-up comedian. He's an actor, but he's directing this movie. I bet you he might have a cameo in it. He's not in the trailer at all. Like
Yeah.
he didn't give himself a big part, and I give that like a lot of respect.
I thought he was in the trailer. I thought he was up.
I didn't
I'll
see him
double
in the
check
trailer.
that.
I did not see in the trailer, but other people that are in the movie: Julia Stiles, Jason Ritter, James Adamian. I know I'm probably killing that name.
Michael Cera.
Wyatt Cenac,
yeah.
Michael Cera, and David Koechner, otherwise known as Champ from Anchorman, are in it, and probably a bunch more cameos from other people. I think it looks pretty interesting. I mean, it deals with something we deal with, which is just kind of like internet
Viral
fame.
videos.
Yeah, viral stuff.
I think it'd be kind of charming. Like, I think just like on a minute-to-minute basis, like it just might be funny
I
and
actually got-
enjoyable. I mean, and that's kind of something that's really hard to show in the trailer. I also
Yeah.
thought it was interesting. I don't know the name of the actor who's the lead, but he was, one of the Upright Citizen Brigade
Yeah,
guys
that's
from
that guy's
Amy
name I
Poehler.
ruined.
The show Amy Poehler's on
Yeah,
Comedy Central, and it's like
Yeah.
he's been in so many small random roles. Like I know he was in like Old School or some random stuff, and then now he has his own movie. There wasn't that intermediary.
Well, he's a really
But
famous.
good for him.
He's a really famous stand-up. He also does. Apparently, he does lots of impersonations. Apparently, does a really good George Bush, and he's also. He does a really well-known podcast apparently, and his name's James Adomian. I'm rude. I know so many fans are watching this going, "You're fucking up his name," but he's the guy that's like super hipster with the hoodie and the crazy mustache. That's the guy you're talking about
From what?
from the Hits trailer.
Yeah, he's like the main guy, right?
I don't know.
The main guy.
That guy. Oh, no, you're talking about the guy that gets viral famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy from Upright Citizens Brigade. Okay, and then Amy Sedaris from Strangers with Candy also was in that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I actually,
ahead.
looking back, I kind of got like a St. Vincent vibe from it, which I didn't think the St. Vincent trailer was all that great, but apparently it was good.
You never even saw the movie?
Yeah, but I see,
Well, this is Blaine. He comments
damn it,
he
dude.
comments on movies via trailers. He just said David Cross was a
I've
bad
seen
director.
it, or the
It
trailer.
didn't look that good. I'm sorry.
Actually, I was pretty impressed by it. Like
I
there were
could
some
see it.
there were some cool shots in that trailer. All right, I have no idea what time it is. How we doing on time? Someone tell me. What do we got?
It's 4:37.
4:37. Not too bad. Not too shabby, guys. All right. So I think Gus, let's hear what that movie quote of the week was.
That movie quote of the week, and give me just a moment to get back over there. There it is. The movie quote again is, "The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool."
I'm gonna try to guess. The only true
be
currency
cool.
in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool.
Would be cool.
I don't know.
Still seems like something high,
It's a
in
mouthful.
high fidelity.
Is it blank check?
No.
What is it?
Oh.
I
Yeah, that
forget.
makes sense.
He works at Rolling Stone in that movie.
It's
doesn't
almost
he?
famous.
What was your initial thing that you were saying, Brandon?
High Fidelity, John Cusack from High Fidelity. Like
That-
as he's talking
Isn't
to the
that
camera.
also a Cameron Crowe movie?
No,
No?
no, but it fucking feels like one. And Cameron Crowe, I guess, used Cusack a lot in the 80s. Say Anything, right? Was the movie they did together.
The airplane scene in Almost Famous where, it was the movie's about a band and a kid journalist falling around the band where they all think they're going to die and they start spouting like
Yeah.
all their secrets. It's,
I'm gay. That guy's like, I'm gay. And then they live. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like everybody thinks they're going to die and it turns out like, the plane lands
Yeah.
or the plane just gets out of the turbulence and everyone's safe. And it's just like this really awkward moment.
Tense, yeah. No, but you're talking about High Fidelity. That's directed by Stephen Frears, who usually does kind of intense, dark like movies, but High Fidelity is amazing, and it's based on a book by Nook Hornby, who did About a Boy and a bunch of other stuff. So the book High Fidelity takes place in a record store.
That's
and
interesting.
It
He did About a Boy.
Yeah,
I was
same
about
writer.
to say, like, I'm generally not that crazy where you have like the main character who breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience, because I feel like it makes them less vulnerable because they have the power because they're shielding themselves from the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah.
But High Fidelity, I thought, did it really well. And I was gonna say, Alfie kind of sucked. But About a Boy was good, and apparently
High Fidelity
was made by
High
that's
Fidelity
cool.
takes place in I think London, so they moved it to Chicago to make it work kind of with John Cusack's kind of whole feeling. I fucking love that movie. Like, and the book is great, but if you're a snob about movies and music and shit, watch High Fidelity.
And Ex-Girlfriends.
Oh, and
I
Ex-Girlfriend
feel like that's
situation.
a movie that you like jerk off to.
What, High Fidelity? I do have the poster. I do fucking love that fucking movie. The top fives, like the whole like girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, the whole idea. Like, there's a whole scene where like him and his girlfriend are a flashback, and Tim Robbins lives upstairs, and they're listening to him have sex with some girl, and they're like laughing at each other, like, oh, our neighbor's having sex, and then he loses his girlfriend to that guy. So he's like imagining these noises, and it's such a fucking good movie, man. If you've never seen
Yeah.
High Fidelity, Jack Black's in it.
It's like his breakout role too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jack Black.
yeah, it was.
Yeah, totally. What were we talking? Oh, we were talking about. Sorry.
We were talking about Ant-Man.
No, but almost. We were talking about Almost Famous. And I have a really funny story.
It was a joke.
We were doing. I was doing these commercials for Toyota, and we were on this huge like Metallica tour bus with like the whole crew, directors, actors, like camera guys, and then we were watching Almost Famous like on 4 different TVs, and that scene came on where they start singing Tiny Dancer, and they're on the bus, and the song comes on, and everyone's like getting ready to sing it, and we were all watching this, and we all know like. We're gonna sing when this, no one's saying it. Nobody's saying it. We're all thinking it like, okay, as soon as the chorus comes in, we're all gonna start singing along. And right when the chorus came in, someone flushed the toilet and it fucked up the generator and the whole fucking bus turned off. Literally right when it was like, home. What? It was ridiculous.
Maybe someone did it intentionally.
Maybe. Or maybe someone was just pooping.
That's what I would do if it was in a party and somebody wanted to play "Don't Stop Believin'."
Oh my god. It's the one thing I hate about going to karaoke bars. I always seem to walk in when someone's singing that song.
Belting it.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's like the song where everybody knows the first 30 seconds and then no one knows any of the lyrics.
What are the first lyrics? Like,
Just a small town.
there you go. There you
I'm
go.
in
All
the
right.
lonely world.
Man.
Dreaming that you're going anywhere.
I don't care. I
Just
thought
a
that
lone
ending of
voice
Sopranos was
without
awesome.
betray.
All right. Don't stop. All right. So 12 Monkeys. Did anyone watch that clip I sent to you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was like that's the first
Yeah, we're going
like
to
10
TV
minutes
right now.
of the movie.
There's-
Or, I mean,
it's
of
the first
show.
9 minutes of the TV show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's basically the beginning of
the movie.
12 Monkeys, except not weird. It's like if Terry Gilliam would have
Yes.
not directed that film, this is what it would be like.
It's like, hey, if they slapped all the style and cool things out of the camera
and the score.
and they just like it's like they just took the movie and slapped all that the good things that stuck out to you. That's what you have. You have a TV version of
Yeah.
that. Because like the greatest thing about the 12 Monkeys is like how desolate it looks, and the wacky 12mm lens, and the Dutch angle shots, and it just feels like this weird dystopia. And you don't really get that from this opening.
I think they're just trying to make something different.
Yeah,
you know, and I
trying
think
to
that's
make it
okay.
more like just kind of a gritty TV show.
Yeah.
It's more digestible
yeah,
Yeah.
as a TV show.
And there's definitely like a few homages to the movie. Like when there's the scene where the female scientist is talking to the audience. There's a lot of lines like verbatim from the movie. Like, you know, but anyway, I don't know. Like, I'm curious to see if it'll work as a show. I didn't realize until about halfway through the guy playing Cole, the Bruce Willis character, is actually Pyro from the X-Men movies.
That's where he's from. I was trying to figure that out the whole time. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
Aaron Stanford. He got famous for doing a movie called Tadpole, where he was like a teenage boy and he hooks up with like Sigourney Weaver. But yeah,
Let's see,
he's been around.
There's Fargo. Are there any other TV shows that were movies?
Oh yeah.
God, there's tons of
MASH, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
Does Buffy count? Wasn't the movie was like not that?
Well,
Yeah, it's still-
Joss
yeah.
Whedon
Joss
wrote
Whedon
it,
did the movie
and he
too.
like hated it. Man, he has some horrible things to say about Donald Sutherland, who
Really?
played
The Rucker. Oh no, he played the guy that teaches.
He was
Buffy.
the trainer of Buffy. Yeah, because like he'd be like this. They'd be like, "This is the line." Donald Sutherland, "Yeah, I'm not going to say that. That sounds dumb. I'm just going to say this." And he's like, "What?" And then you look at their careers since that moment.
So I got to meet Donald Sutherland when I was in New York doing that the Hunger Games stuff. And he's really cool, and everyone treats him like very like almost like this fragile like film, like, you know, just I don't know what word I'm looking for, but everyone treats him like he's untouchable. But I remember that he was in Beer Fest. He plays like the great grand uncle that dies at the very beginning of the movie. I was like, I wonder how much money he got paid for that. Probably the same amount of money that they gave. Okay, well, I don't know why we're talking about Scary Movie 2. Remember how James Woods opens up Scary Movie 2?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was originally supposed to be Marlon Brando.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He wouldn't have known any of the words.
And the thing is, I think if Marlon Brando actually, it was like literally days before they shot the movie, he said, I'm not going to do it. I think if he would have done that, that would have been the last thing he did before he died.
Besides Transformers, yeah.
That's
No,
right.
you're
I'm sorry, thinking
you
of
think Orson Welles.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
God damn it.
Jesus. What
do
was
you-
Marlon Brando's last film?
I don't know.
His last
Dial in a
film-
Dr. Moreau, maybe.
No, he did some
was the
weird.
last big movie,
He did some
probably.
weird stuff. He did this weird like straight to DVD movie with Thomas Hayden Church and Charlie Sheen. It was like random weird fucking movie.
Brando's last film, according to IMDb, was The Score.
Oh, that's right. With De Niro.
Oh my God, that was directed by Frank Oz.
Who does the voice of Miss Piggy? I
Yeah,
think.
and
Yeah.
every scene that Marlon Brando was in had to be directed by Robert De Niro, so apparently, because basically Marlon Brando would just not listen to Frank Oz. He's like, whatever, Miss Piggy. He would just call him Miss Piggy on the set. Chris, do you think Buffy's like one of top 10 shows ever?
I don't know if I'd say top 10 shows ever, but it's a good show.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't say top 10. though.
People.
Friends, Seinfeld, and there's Sopranos, and there's so many other ones
There's-
that are like
yeah.
coming to mind immediately.
People love Buffy. though.
It's it's
three.
just probably one of the top 10 cult shows.
Don't make me list off 7 more.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, never mind.
Good to know. Okay. Also,
With the discussion.
Well, no, I mean it's a good show. It holds
No,
up.
I'll let it go.
According to, I'm
Happy
looking
days.
at a list here. The Writers Guild of America has a list of 101 best written TV series, and Buffy's number 49 on that list.
Not even close, Brandon.
yeah, people
enough.
fucking love that show.
I wasn't saying it to diss Brandon. I think that's a really good
I think
honor.
it's a good show. I think it's up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 49 is.
Not bad.
The
Right-
first three
right where it should
seasons are
be.
kind of campy, but once you get to season 4 through 7, I think it's pretty.
They did a
phenomenal.
lot of interesting things. They did the musical episode. They did the Hush episode where like there was no talking.
Fuck that episode. It was so scary.
Like the Hush episode.
yeah, or those guys are like, they're like all skinny Slenderman guys.
All right, so moving on to more television news. Our good friend Grace Helbig, otherwise known as Daily Grace, as she's doing her own TV show with E. So
Yeah.
good on her. I'm curious to see how that'll go.
We first saw her, I think, back in our old downtown office. So it was either 2009 or 2010, and even then, we're like, this girl's great.
Well, I
And
watched.
it's just ever since then, she's just been.
Well, I watched that documentary on I think on Netflix. I think it's called Please Subscribe or something like that. It's all about like internet celebrity people. It's really interesting to see how everyone does their approach, especially after working at an internet company. But it's funny to see Grace and she just gets a DSLR with like an onboard mic, and she doesn't have a tripod. She
sets
like
it on books,
she stacks them on whatever books that are laying around, and then she uses light from the sun. Like it's the most minimal shit. It's genius. So good on her, and she's a great personality.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it before. Her and Hannah Hart were in one of the recent epic rap battles.
That's right.
Such a
Oh,
shit
yeah.
movie.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah,
And then
Bonnie
Romeo
and
and
Clyde
Juliet.
and Romeo and Juliet, and they both did a really awesome
Well-
job. And they've been hosting like internet award shows and stuff. Like
It's on E, right? That's
This is just
the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's like E. I think
It's
is
perfect
like an
for her.
well, yeah, but it's like I feel it's like an older network. Think more older people.
Traditional,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and so I think it's like they're trying to like
Transition.
transition
Well,
and bring in a younger audience.
they're
Isn't
trying
she-
to bring in an internet audience.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
kind of, I think they see what Comedy Central has done with Daniel Tosh.
And PewDiePie too, like with Comedy Central, it's like, hey, here's this thing that like it's obviously a thing. Why haven't we incorporated it? And Daniel Tosh is like now like him and South Park are like the big top tier money makers for Comedy Central. Like Tosh is like Chappelle's show at this point.
Yeah, I think in general, cable's kind of hitting the panic button. Like they're trying to catch up to what the internet's been able to accomplish. It's something they should have been doing years ago. But it's just funny because it's basically what cable did to network TV.
Yeah.
all those years ago.
Can we talk about how ESPN is going to be offering its own pay to
Really?
pay to
Are
pay
you
to
sure?
subscribe? Yeah,
Gus, can you
For
look
online
into
stuff?
that?
yeah.
It's
No,
good-
they have.
It's going to be part of Dish's Sling TV piece of hardware.
It's a package.
Yeah, it's a package thing. You pay like $20 a month, and you get like ESPN.
Over the
Dis-
net?
Yeah.
Disney Channel, CNN, TNT,
Disney Channel.
and a few others.
Whoa.
No, but you say it's through Dish now. How does? Please explain this.
So it's a Sling TV package that includes all of these things, and it's just going to be an IP content delivery box that I think can even do up to 4K programming.
So basically,
You're the one who brought it up, Chris. You're the one who should be.
basically, it's kind of like a new device, like a new Roku, a new Apple TV that has an exclusive license.
I don't think it's a
with
device.
these.
I think it's just something you subscribe to. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an app.
Okay, it's an app.
It's like Crunchyroll.
Yeah, they're just trying to they're trying to develop their own
So can I watch like the national championship? Well, that might be on network
You're
TV.
asking
But
sports questions.
You're the one who brought it up.
I'm just saying it's really interesting because I know a lot of people who have cable and they're like, yeah, I don't really like cable, but it's the only way I can get
Yeah.
sports.
Is HBO going to a just net?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. They're going to a
Isn't it kind of
prescription.
funny that HBO was the one that really changed the playing field for cable, and then now they're like getting out?
Well, because they're smart. Because they're ahead of the curve.
I just thought it was an interesting
Well, I mean,
note.
it's just like everything's
They're
kind of
definitely
transitioning to like the internet and their own little subscriber modules versus
Yeah.
a cable
Yeah, I mean,
network.
HBO had to wait until there was enough of a footprint there where they could leave the teat
So
of
when it was-
premium cable
Yeah,
TV.
I-
Because
so
like financially, that's a huge
It's a
teat.
huge tit.
Yeah.
It's
A
like-
huge. now I'm just waiting for them to bring back real sex, right, Gus?
Yeah. So
No,
I
Gus,
do want to
Gus,
comment on the
Gus,
HBO.
It's on the HBO Go app.
What?
Real sex.
Okay, great. I want to comment on the HBO Go app. It's great that they're launching that finally, but fairly recently, I'm trying to figure out exactly when. I think it was back in 2012. Time Warner specifically said that would never happen. I found the exact quote here.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, they said, but the whole idea that there's a lot of people out there that want to drop multi-channel TV and just have a Netflix or an HBO, that's not right. Look at the data, you won't find them.
And that's why they were just bought by Comcast.
It could be, but yeah, and here we go. Just I think 2 years later, they totally changed their point of view on
They're
that.
like Blockbuster, like Redbox.
Yeah, I don't think they would have been able to do that without Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones has expanded
Yeah.
HBO in so many ways.
It's
to
true.
people that go beyond people who just like really good, critically acclaimed shows.
And
It's
it's expanding HBO to IMAX even.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. We're
Yeah.
going to talk about that. So what's happening? Are they playing new episodes, or is it the last 2 episodes of season 4 that we've already seen?
They're gonna be playing the last 2 episodes of season 4 along with a full-length season 5 trailer on IMAX on 150 IMAX screens around the country between January 23rd and 29th.
That's crazy.
you know what they're-
Interestingly, they announced this and the IMAX website crashed. Like, and that's got like a logo saying we're getting a lot of traffic.
it's pretty crazy timing because the big IMAX theater in Austin, the Bob Bullock Museum, not the only, but one of the biggest, is renovating its space, and they're removing the 70 millimeter film projector in favor of digital projection. And one of the things they said is, well, we'll be able to just show new types of content, digital movies, and then within a few days of that announcement, here comes the opportunity to show
it's perfect.
Game
So-
of Thrones in IMAX, which I think a lot of people are really going to like. Something they wouldn't be able to do with 70 millimeter film. To give you an idea, 35 millimeter film is a fortune. It's really expensive
true.
to have to make it and send it out. 70
Process
millimeter
or something,
film
yeah.
it's not just like twice as expensive because so little of it is made. It just makes the cost of it exponentially large.
It's
So I think it's awesome news for Austin.
Yeah.
Well, and then also, the last thing I'll talk about before we talk about our movie book club, which this week we all watched The Interview. Sweden has a new reality show, and it's kind of awesome.
Stand behind this.
It's kind of like To Catch a Predator, but it's for trolls, internet trolls. And I think this is marvelous. But they've gone against they're not just going against people that are like, you suck, you're fat, whatever. Like they're going against real
bullies.
Yeah.
serial
yeah.
cyber bullies, like people that like there are 3 different examples on the website that I sent you guys, and I think one was like someone that got like almost cyber bullied to like almost to death, and another person who's like literally like who's been targeting these kind of like people in charge of movements they don't agree with. And so what they do is they find out information for them, they find out where these people are, and then they just
And they kick their ass.
They kind of kick their ass,
Hopefully.
like Jane Silent Bob style. No, they approach them on the street, kind of with a camera crew, and they ask them about their stuff. And apparently, there's a lot of people that are against this show. They say that it's the wrong approach, but nonetheless, it is a huge hit in Sweden. And I can't. I really hope they have an American American version at some point.
It's a very serious issue. I mean, suicides are caused from cyberbullying, like pretty commonly.
Not a week goes by that I don't see Blaine crying at his computer because someone didn't like him.
I hope they try to do it
Funny.
higher brow. Like when I read it, it reminded me of this reality show Cheaters,
Yeah.
where
Oh,
they
yeah.
like a
Which
camera
turned out to
crew
be like really
confronts-
Now I really want to watch it.
Well, no, you brought up How to Catch a Predator, right?
Yeah.
That show was awesome.
Yeah, well, and it's like that show. I mean, it probably decreased the number of people trying to.
What I loved about that
Hook up-
show is
Ideally.
you couldn't stop. It's like rubbernecking. It's like seeing a car wreck. You can't stop watching to
Yeah.
catch a predator.
Yeah.
And if it's a marathon on,
And
like,
it
you're
was
fucked.
so awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
And
the ones
so-
where the guys come
Oh.
in and then they're like,
I brought a gift basket.
no, they're like, hey, I'm here. I got my beer, my condoms, or whatever. And then they're like, camera crews come out. And he's like, oh yeah, I thought this is what this was. I just wanted to check. And then they try to leave.
Yeah, a lot of the guys, they've seen the show.
Oh,
course
God.
they
I'm
have.
a big fan.
I mean, it's the same thing with Cops. It's like, criminals love that show and cops love that show. Like, it's like, it's this weird split.
Both ends of the
They
spectrum.
both fucking love that show. Like I told,
But do you think internet trolls now are going to be thinking twice about like
No.
negative?
They
I
don't
don't know if
give a
it's just
shit.
they're going to stop.
If anything, they're
internet-
gonna be like, bring it on, bring it on.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
Do you even lift? Oh, internet trolls. How I love the. Oh man. All right, so moving on. It's movie book club of the week time.
Twizzlers?
I don't think there's any actual candy in there. Fake. Before we talk about movie book club, let's jump over to Gus. Gus, what's the internet doing? And is there anything you want to add?
We have some people who are upset they live in areas that they can't watch Game of Thrones. They said they don't have an IMAX near them. Other people complaining about TV shows. I don't know why they're talking about Friends and Seinfeld for some reason. We're not talking about that. Maybe they're watching another episode.
Serenity now.
Yeah, no, someone also wanted to mention that the Assassin's Creed movie had a release date
That's
announced
right.
of December 21st, 2016. So much thanks to Looks Brains WCD on Twitter for that, using hashtag RT Screenplay.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure Friends was losing a ton of money in the last few years because basically they had to pay each cast member $1 million.
$1 million.
But they just knew that they would make it back so much more in syndication,
Yeah.
which obviously we've seen in the last 6 years. Even like the show was still going on and entered syndication. Syndication is when they take a show and like your local Fox station
Yeah.
will pay to show it at like 6 p.m.
Yeah, there's a
and then
Friends on every
now the
channel.
digital distribution has come in, which I don't know how many people back in 1998 or whenever they made that deal thought would happen,
Yeah.
and it's like even more money.
You know what I don't understand? I don't.
And
understand-
I don't know if those cast members get a cut of that or not,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I don't understand people that buy shows that are on TV like all the time. Like when they have DVDs of them. When my friend's like, "Oh, I've got all the CSIs," I'm like,
Well,
"Really?"
it's different though, being able to just like marathon it.
But like like someone who's like, "Oh, I bought all the Friends," and you're like, "Just put it on TV." Or like people are like, oh, "I'm watching Friends on Netflix." I'm like, "Really?"
what?
Blu-rays like 2 months.
Yeah,
Meg just brought
Turny.
all
There's
the-
there you go. There's always an audience for it.
Meg just brought all the Blu-rays.
My whole thing-
panel.
Literally the week before they announced it was going to be on
She got it the week before it was announced.
Oh, that's that's
So to
funny.
speak to your point about syndicated shows earning so much money, as part of that Sony hack, news came out. The rate to syndicate Seinfeld was one of the things that was leaked. And,
Oh, really?
There was a deal between Sony and Tribune Broadcasting. Tribune Broadcasting paying almost $6 million a year for the right to syndicate a show that hasn't had a new episode in 16 years.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
The show about nothing. That's nutso, man. All right, so moving on to the interview. We all watched it I watched this past weekend. Here's the thing. I watched it like on a weekend. It was already pretty late. A little tipsy when I started the movie. By the time I ended the movie, I was just hammered. And so my notes for my movies are usually so detailed. I only have 3 notes. Uh-huh. And I've been
handwriting.
trying to make sense of them.
Wait. Before you say what your notes are, you all should try to guess. What are JJ's 3 notes
What are
about
my
the
3
interview?
what do you think my
His-
3 notes
his
are?
3 drunken notes about the interview.
Something about Agent Lacey's tits or something.
yeah. That's 2 of the notes.
I think
One per boob.
I think we're all gonna go with tits.
yeah. Well, maybe.
He would want to hang out with Kim Jong Un because I would want to. I was like, damn, that guy's awesome.
I really did like him, and actually, that was my big
That-
was my
you
big
know,
turn
but-
off for the movie.
You don't know what he's like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I liked his character representation in the movie.
No, but the representation of his character was that he fakes and he's just like whatever you want to
But
be.
that's-
So what you're saying is you want to hang out with a guy who's just gonna be like,
Well, not if he's
Blaine, I'm who exactly you are.
no, not if he's honey dicking
You're
me.
so. Oh my gosh.
Well,
Look at you work out,
did
Blaine.
think
You're
that
so
was-
muscular.
The first half of the movie, I was like, they're making him way too likable.
Them- and
I was like,
that's my only note with the movie. That's my only qualm with the movie. Is by the time, and obviously these are spoiler heavy
want him to
reviews.
die.
By the time he dies, there's no 180. Like I never.
there it. Well, there is.
No, I was
No.
I was talking to Cole and Peyton.
It's
in
just-
All right, well, Cole and Peyton are wrong.
Cole
no,
Payton
the
just got
issue-
thrown under the bus with no microphone.
yeah, that
No,
sucks.
the issue with it is it wasn't enough of a 180.
Exactly.
You need to see him like kill some children.
That's
or
what I told them.
something.
I said I need to see him like I need to see like James Franco walk into a room and see like Kim Jong Un torturing like people or a room full of people or just doing something god awful.
He told them to fire nuclear weapons on the west coast of the U.S.
Yeah.
How is that not a bad thing?
Yeah, but he's saying Katy
But
Perry.
no, but he
Also,
did
do you really need that context? Like, what if you watched a historical film about Hitler as an artist painting?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Hitler was a cool guy. Well, no, I mean, you know the truth. You know the other side of
well,
the
he
story.
got a bad rap. Let's be honest.
no,
They
I'm
don't,
just
paint him, they don't paint him to be a nice guy. They paint him to be somebody who is completely fake, 100%,
Yeah.
and is the only acting in a way that he knows you want him to act. So,
Was
like,
that-
he
I
would be
still
your
think they
workout
could've
buddy,
I
Blaine.
still think
I
they
think he
could have made him worse.
a little bit more, just
Yeah.
like just 0.5 worse, and I would have been like, yeah, that face like melt off, whatever.
Like-
and they changed that too.
Like launching nuclear bombs almost feels like that happens in so many movies, and it's just
Exactly.
But
kind of
that's
like.
what they're afraid he's going to do in real
Yeah.
life.
But they can't
But-
even do it. And if you're watching,
But what they
don't.
didn't show was much of the personal things
Yeah.
that he does. Like, oh, okay, here's a personal character who's starving, and we see that person starving, or see that
Yeah.
person being tortured, or whatever. We didn't see any of that. It was all just kind of like, we're gonna launch nuclear bombs, and he's gonna yell.
Yeah, I just needed.
You know
to
what I
see-
mean?
And,
like,
the reason he was yelling too
Chris
is because
gets
he was
it.
just upset because his dad was like overshadowing.
I'm
him
not
and stuff
saying
like that. Like
they portrayed him great, and I want, and he's a cool dude. I'm just saying, I think they could have taken it further and made him look worse.
Yeah,
I feel
agree.
like you're just saying, like, you need to, like, literally see it, but...
Why
That's
not?
what-
Well,
that's what we are
that-
saying.
Find out what I'm saying. Though, is,
Yeah,
like,
why not,
You know
though?
that
Why-
know that he created like this facade of
But
the
why not-
grocery store
why not
because
show-
he wanted people to not to know that he was starving.
But
his
why not
people.
show, not tell? Why?
Yeah,
why
no,
only tell us
showing
about
does so
these
much
things?
more. Like,
show
yeah.
us, and it'll be way more impactful than hearing about it.
I'm about to say something.
I agree as long as it's not an issue of trying to make this guy and make him a huge caricature of an evil like villain, and not trying to make him like ridiculously like fictionally mean and like hitting
no,
people.
just doing the things that he's actually supposed to have done.
yeah,
You know
No,
what I mean?
yeah.
Their like big moment was he made fake grapefruit, which was funny, but it didn't make him seem as like
as
kept
super
on
as
referencing-
super evil. Yeah,
as super evil.
See,
like
see-
that. You're saying like that was what they showed was fake food.
What's happening here is Chris and I are taking the character from the movie and reacting to it, and you're taking the real Kim
no, I'm
Jong-un.
taking the character from the movie.
You
That's
think so?
exactly what's happening.
All right,
yeah.
okay, all right.
Like he goes on this huge tirade, when they're after his two bodyguards die about wanting to be, everybody has to know his power and he's
Yeah.
going to destroy the earth. And
Which
it's
he was
like,
just him talking.
Yeah, I didn't really get that oomph. Anyway, we get it. We think he need to be more evil. Brandon, you thought he was already evil enough. There's a few notes. Okay, so my notes are the running joke. It's so stupid. The running joke about the guard who chewed the poison was fucking hilarious to me.
Why do you care?
How you doing?
That
Are you feeling okay?
no,
Are you
that,
feeling okay?
that was really
I had
funny.
the
That
quote
was-
written down.
I just because they were genuinely like, are you all right,
He's
man?
like, your unhealthy obsession with my well-being makes me trust you less and less. He like straight out said it.
and then my other note is I lost it at the finger biting scene.
the second finger that
The
he
second
lost?
finger, and then it happens again. And the way I was,
Yeah,
I was
props to them for doing that joke or committing to it.
Well, I was talking to Peyton and Cole before we started the show, and I was like, it reminded me of like that Simpsons joke where Homer hits himself with the rake. Like it happens 3 times and it's funny, and then it happens 3 more times. You're like, it's not so funny, and then it happens like 3 more times, and you're like, now it's really funny.
Yeah.
So when the third finger situation happened or whatever, you're like, this is hilarious. And then my last scribble is cute puppy stole third act. I don't even remember a fucking dog. Is there? So there's a dog in this movie?
Yeah, he gives him
Yeah.
a dog right before the interview, and you think that James Franco's going to take his side again. He's like, it's my puppy. So.
But he's like running through North Korea while
a
they're being
dog.
shot at in a tank
Yeah.
with like
That's right. That's
the little
right.
dog, and he's trying to protect it.
So
Yeah, on Twitter, Sly Foxhound says Franco protecting the puppy could have been a movie on its own.
there were a lot of great bro moments between Kim Jong Un and Franco's character.
It was awesome. Like
Yeah,
they were
really-
like watching the cars, and then like the hot chicks come in and all that. It was, like,
Yeah, no, it was really cute. I remember just being like feeling like the whole idea was just kind of adorable. I guess that's the whole thing. That's why I got sad when he died at the end. And the thing is, I think originally there's like just fire that covers him, but I think in the original version, like there was really crazy graphic face melting.
Like Indiana Jones.
Indiana
style?
Yeah, and then the studio changed it because there was so much backlash that like if you're gonna kill a real leader, like do it as like broad as you can. Don't show his face melting.
well, they
off.
like comically like he exploded, you know.
yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere.
Like Katy Perry is singing in the background.
Wait, I forget. Explain to me. Does he die via an accident or someone actually?
No,
no,
James
they-
Franco
they-
fires a missile and kills him.
Yeah, from the tank.
Oh, he kills his own bro. That's a bummer.
Yeah, but he was
wasn't
an
as
asshole. By then, he was a dick.
All right.
Well, okay, what was your favorite cameo? Mine was Joseph Gordon-Levitt because he was like 3 seconds. They cut to Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's with a bunch of dogs.
Oh,
and
that's
he cuts
right.
away immediately.
Eminem, man,
Eminem.
that was the best.
Oh,
I just,
yeah.
I just fear,
That was
I
really
talk
funny.
about the things that I fear. I fear homosexuals because I'm gay. I fear old people.
Wait,
and
did Eminem just say he was gay?
everybody's like, what?
And they started changing all the lower third graphics.
That was
and, like,
awesome.
But dude,
it
Rob
was
Lowe,
really clever.
Rob Lowe being bald was pretty funny. Just in
Yeah.
that bald, cap.
But like Eminem's performance was so good.
Good.
Yeah.
It was just like
Well,
yeah.
dude, he's always good. I mean, 8 Mile is great, but if you ever look at his cameo in Funny People, which I was talking about earlier, he's having a moment where he's talking to Adam Sandler, and then like Ray Romano's and Seth Rogen to the side, they take a picture of him, like, oh, that's Eminem, and Eminem yells at Ray Romano, he's like, shut the fuck up, Ray, and Ray Romano's like, sorry, Marshall. But it's this really great moment. I wish Eminem was in more stuff, and I've said it before. He was supposed to be Matt Damon's character in Elysium. And then,
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, no, like that whole thing was supposed to be like way,
And he was gonna play himself.
pretty much, but they couldn't film it in Detroit, and that's the reason he dropped out. But he was on board for a long time. But for the most part, let's see the interview. I enjoyed it. I laughed a lot. I'm trying to compare it to the others, Evan Goldberg, Seth Rogen movies like This Is the End and Bad Neighbors or Neighbors or what.
Pineapple Express.
Yeah, Pineapple Express. It's up there. It's maybe not the best out of their batch.
I liked it a lot better than Pineapple Express. I think it's hard comparing it to This Is the End because This Is the End was so ridiculous. But every person who said they were going to see it, it's not a movie that's just inherently great because
Yeah.
of what it's about. You have to like Seth Rogen and James Franco. And if you really like them, then I definitely think you'll like the movie. And I like the two guys, and I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
It was okay to me. Like I like James Franco and Seth Rogen, but I don't necessarily like their movies so much as I like them as people. Like to me,
So you like their Twitter accounts.
well, no, I'm just saying. Like I think they're funny. I think I enjoy watching them. But like here's something like this. I feel like in a lot of their movies, they're bad guys, and this is not just this. This is all their movies. Their bad guys aren't threatening enough. Aren't bad enough.
I could see that,
Like
yeah.
even in Pineapple Express,
Because they're too funny.
yeah, they're bad guys
relatable.
are trying to be funny, and so then it makes the whole movie a little more farcical and less,
Yeah, no, I get
like
that.
less real. Like, it had the same problem with Dumb and Dumber 2,
Yeah.
where the bad guys were silly and stupid, and so they didn't really feel like threatening.
I just think it's so funny that like 2.5 weeks ago or near Christmas time, like this was a just like holy grail. Like I need to see this movie, even if it's on a shitty cell phone, like 20 yards away. I need to see this fucking movie. And now that it's out, everyone's like, like like I mean, people are still like, I mean, they're
People don't
watching
like
it.
being censored.
What's that?
People don't like being censored.
They don't like being bullied. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Well,
don't like.
everyone wants. I think we can agree and say everyone wants what they can't have.
Well, yeah. I mean, and I mean, I'm glad I got to see it. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
yeah.
watching it. I just I
Yeah,
don't think it's
America,
great.
man, America.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Go for us. All
So,
right.
real quick, do you think that the movie could have been different to where you would have enjoyed it, or do you think because it's inherently a kind of buddy cop or buddy movie?
No.
with
I didn't
James
have a problem
Franco,
with that. No.
So you think the movie could have been to the point where you really would have really liked it? It wasn't just an issue of you're not totally big on the two of them together.
Oh no, I like them together. I don't have an issue with them. I just think the like it got to the point where at the end where they were just like running around and shooting and
Yeah.
it became too silly. Mm-hmm. where I think it'd be funnier if it was like they were being funny in like a real world dangerous situation. Does that make sense?
I can see that. Well, let us know what you guys thought.
I don't know.
Let us know. Hashtag RT Screenplay on Twitter or underneath if you're watching this on YouTube in the comments or on the Rooster Teeth website. Gus, we're about to sign off. Do you have any idea of what movie we should watch next week? Should we maybe let someone tweet at us and say the first person who tweets at us will
No,
watch
that's
whatever fucking
dangerous.
movie that is?
No, I don't have any ideas. I was actually, God, earlier when you mentioned it, I was looking through the new releases on Netflix. I saw a few of the biggest bombs of 2014 in there in the new releases.
What
I don't
do
know if
we
you want to
got?
do that.
Friends.
They got Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit in there.
I don't want to watch that.
What else did I see? I thought I saw Transcendence in there. There's I, Frankenstein is in there,
You guys, should we watch I, Frankenstein?
which is like the weirdest. It seemed like the weirdest movie of 2014 to me. Like,
It was.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, it's Two-Face. You like that movie, right?
Now
Give
he's
him his
got
own
lots
movie.
of
Now he's got
faces.
he's got a whole face.
Django's on there. Seven's on there.
Gus, what'd you think of
Red.
the interview?
I mean, it's what I expected. I think there was way too much hype for the movie to possibly live up to. And I think if there hadn't been all the hype leading up to it, it would have been a moderate success, and it would have been quickly forgotten.
Total Recall, Labyrinth.
I would say Blue Ruin, but we already watched it. I'd watch it again. That
Village.
fucking movie is awesome.
God, watch Total Recall and try to keep track of how many people
Wait,
die.
the original Total Recall?
Yeah, the original Total
Dude,
Recall.
let's do that. Let's do the original Total Recall.
Let me confirm that is on there. I was just grazing.
All
through it.
right.
It's
Going
exhausting.
It is-
I
it is on
tried.
there.
I think I stopped.
Total Recall. That movie's fucking awesome.
I stopped at 70.
Who's the director of that? It's oh god, it's,
hold on.
it's the same guy that did is it the RoboCop and did Starship Troopers?
It
Isn't Paul
is
Verhoeven?
Paul Verhoeven.
And he also did Striptease or no Showgirls. There you go. So there's a bunch of movies about people killing each other in the future and then
welcome.
naked chicks. So there you go, guys. Check out Total Recall. You got a week from today. We'll be talking about it next week.
The old one with Schwarzenegger.
Have you seen
Schwarzenegger.
Total Recall?
Yeah.
Be careful. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude, that movie's awesome. All right, looking forward to it. It'll be like
Surprisingly
Face Off.
good.
It'll be like a Face Off Die Hard week for us again. So let us know. We'll see you guys next time right here on RT Screenplay. See you next time. Bye. You guys say